Dean and Ann, and we're going to review episode 6
of Hard Knocks.
Of Hard Knocks with the Miami Dolphins. And what did you think? What was your impression?
I enjoyed this episode because, should I tell you why now?
Tell me why now.
I enjoyed the equipment manager.
Oh, yeah.
I actually really enjoy seeing other jobs beside the players. And
Okay.
So I feel like Hard Knocks could just give little bios of people. I mean, he's been with them for 30 seasons.
Yeah, 30 years, yeah.
So, I mean, that's impressive. And even if he had just been with them for like 2 years, I still would be... I mean, it's not an easy job.
It's fun to see the kind of the background workers and how they support the team and what they have to go through. I mean, I really like there was a scene where they're cleaning the helmets and they're using that pressurized air to blow out dust from in between the cricks and crevices or whatever. Yeah. And then they're putting decals on them later on, and it's really cool to see. I don't know that they do that after every single game, but maybe they do.
I imagine they have to go through all the equipment and make sure it's all okay.
It's all going to be,
safety first, and the helmets need to be good and clean, ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I figured that would be something that you would enjoy.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so, we kind of start off with a typical speech by Coach at the beginning to just acknowledge the previous week, how they had to fight through some adversity. They then beat the Jets, and now they're continuing on to the Cowboys.
And he told them if they get questions about the playoff to say fuck off.
Fuck off. Basically, he said quote you can quote him.
Yeah, and that they're focusing on they're prepping for the Cowboys. Another part around that time that I really enjoyed was our narrator, Liev Schreiber, saying "ding-a-ling, hear them ring," and it's
such a deadpan.
Yes, he's a great narrator, but just hearing him say something so silly and so serious was great. All right.
Okay, so then we see some presents being given out. The players are, some of the more wealthier players are buying big expensive gifts for their teammates. Tyreek bought electric scooters for everybody.
Yeah.
Incredible.
That go 45 miles an hour, did he say?
Yeah, something like that. 43 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And then they're going through the halls and they're going down the parking lot. I'm like, if anybody got injured before the game because of this, if I was a coach, I'd be pissed,
Yes.
But, they're grown men.
They are grown men. You'd think they could handle themselves.
Yeah.
They also got, leg massagers.
Yeah, various other gifts. Yeah. Cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. So then we look at practice a little bit, and Tyreek is kind of feeling his way through his ability to run and change things up. And he's like, at first he was struggling to kind of make those quick changes. And, but yeah, by the end
of his ankle injury, right?
Injury, yeah. He missed a game, and but now he's feeling better, obviously, and as the week progresses, he gets better and better. Mm-hmm. They also did a lot of planning for the celebration that they were going to do if they had a touchdown, and they came up with various schemes, but they weren't able to execute it in the game, so that was kind of funny to see that progression.
Yeah, Christmas themed. Talking about carrying in a Christmas tree or caroling.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It was pretty elaborate.
I don't know. They had a lot of different ideas being tossed out. And it took me you gotta create juices flow.
I think there's honestly just a little too much of this celebration planning, coordinated efforts we got to have 18 guys do one thing, and just score the touchdown, celebrate, jump up and down, and go back to
I don't know. There's something funny. I think it could.
If you can pull it off,
they could be easier. They could be simpler.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. All right. What else you got?
After practice, they talk about not costumes. Uniforms, the aqua throwback uniforms that they use once a season is what I picked up on. So it's their vintage look.
Yeah,
but they're new. They're brand new.
The uniforms are brand new, but the design of the uniform is vintage. I think it's my favorite Dolphins uniform. It's the dark jersey, the old school kind. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks cool.
Yeah.
They talked about Alex Ingold and what he did after the Jets game, or during the Jets game when Mostert got that record-breaking touchdown, and he just kind of spiked the ball and it went wherever. And Alec Ingold went and tracked it down and had to fight people for it to get it back for Mostert.
That was pretty impressive.
That was cool.
That would give me anxiety going through the audience trying to get something back. Then we get to see all the players giving back to the community.
Yeah, toy drives.
Toy drives, and giving bikes, and that's pretty cool.
They took a bunch of kids to Target and just let them, ransack the aisles. It looked like it was fun.
It did look like that. I didn't feel like there was a lot of background on what
totally was like happening. Who was doing what and who was involved, and but good for them. Yeah, it was all good.
Then we get back to business. They're talking about Dak Prescott for the Cowboys.
Yeah, breaking down the Cowboys' offense and figuring out what they like to do. And
I really liked McDaniel at practice. Really competing today and a fuck things up attitude. Did you hear
he was
those corners.
He was running around giving everybody just a way to poke it in somebody else's eye. Shit talking. He's so good at it and so funny. Obviously what he's trying to do is generate some emotion because practicing, these guys practice these things a billion times, and you got to find a way to make it interesting and give them a spark. And honestly, I think this whole episode, and I was going to talk more about this during the game part, was about them proving that they belong in that upper echelon of elite teams, because there's been so much shit talk this year about how you haven't beat anybody good. You haven't, really shown what you can do against playoff caliber teams, and this was the turning point, right? This is the week where they had to prove it, and I think that we're showing Mike McDaniels knows exactly what he's doing and gets everybody in the right frame of mind.
He does.
Yeah, and that's just one of the techniques is he runs around and talks shit to everybody.
Yeah, he's like an
instigator.
Yeah. We got to see a player from the Ivory Coast whose name I did not write down.
Kader Kohou.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was fun to see, get a little background on his family. They were rugby fans and soccer fans, so they didn't know a lot about American football.
Mm-hmm. And so then they came over, and then he became interested in it.
So they had to learn.
Yeah.
And they were Cowboy fans because they lived in Texas.
They lived in Dallas.
Yes.
Yeah. But now
the mother's like, we root for Miami.
Yeah, because Dad was a little he was ambiguous. He's like, I don't know, I'm a Cowboys fan, but they're, my son is the Dolphins, and Mom was like, nope, we're all Miami now.
We're Miami. My next note is about we're back in the QB room. They're handing out gifts to each other.
Yeah, like a Secret Santa,
and also maybe just group gifts. Because that one guy bought everybody a golf simulator.
Tua bought everybody a golf simulator thing. I don't know what that is. And Uncle Dan was there, Dan Marino, who apparently is a special advisor to the team. That's why he's always in the locker room. He's always hanging around. Mm-hmm. He's actually got a job there. So that's cool.
Since 2014.
Yeah.
I wrote down. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if it's a paid gig or if he's just like, hey.
Yeah. And he gave everybody isotoner gloves.
Which is a great joke.
As Dean here explained to me, he was in a lot of isotoner glove commercials.
Yeah.
I thought it was a joke because you're in Miami, you don't need gloves.
Yeah.
But
no, I think he did in the 70s and maybe even the 80s did isotoner glove TV commercials. And it's like, you can catch them. I don't know. I was too young to remember this.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then that brings us all the way to game day.
Early struggles in the game. They were having some trouble kind of, establishing themselves in the game and stopping the Cowboys. And so it was a little,
yeah,
in the game. And I watched the game and really, I felt the same way. I was like, oh, okay. Because it was kind of neck and neck for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the way to the end, it was neck and neck. Actually.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah. Yeah.
Then it really highlighted Tyreek just killing it all the way. I mean, it just catching everything, running super fast, outrunning his coverage. Everybody he was killing it. And for all that, they weren't necessarily getting into the end zone. They were getting down to the red zone, but not in to score. So there was a lot of kicks, a lot of 3 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Field goals.
Exactly.
Yes.
I know words. Yeah, and then they didn't. This is something I was a little disappointed in the episode, is that they didn't really show enough of what I consider to be the Mike McDaniel clock management techniques there at the end of the game. He had 4.5 or 5 minutes with possession of the ball, and they were down by 1 point, and that's an eternity in football. And he ran it all the way down to 2 seconds before they were able to kick, and that's incredible clock management, because you score and you give the ball up too early, they can come back and score again and beat you. And so he just wasted so much time, but got down the field, got right where he needed to be.
Is it wasting time, or is it utilizing
I didn't mean wasting
time?
Utilizing. It's tearing it off the clock so that you can't. There's nothing left for the Cowboys to do. Yeah. And there was a cool exchange between Tua and the coach where they're trying to figure out what to do at the end, the couple last plays or whatever. And Tua kind of took over in one scene where he's like, "No, we're doing this. We're doing this."
Yeah.
And he told his group, he says, "This is what we're going to do. It's going to work. Go." And it did. They got down there and they were able to score with 2 seconds left on the clock.
It was impressive.
And won the game. Yeah. So what this shows me and shows everybody, I think, is that this is a playoff contender game or team, and they do deserve to be up there in the upper echelon. Despite the teams that they might have played in the past. But look, any football team is a good football team because these are all professionals. So, anyways, I was impressed by the game, but also this episode and what it showed.
Yes, and then we ended with more of their
Christmas stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had almost hoped we could have ended with more equipment manager and seen like how we
go home with him.
how we get stains out of stuff. So, post game, here's how we organize the laundry. Here's what we use. Because what do they use on those stains?
I mean, sometimes they just have to replace uniforms.
Yeah. Well, I'd be curious.
There should be like a Discovery Channel behind the scenes. Here's what it's like day in the life of a referee, but then the equipment managers, what happens after the game? What happens? What do these giant crates of dirty clothes, how do we get them clean?
It's true. I think it's
you love it.
I think it's interesting.
It is.
Because there's a lot of people who make this team work. And if we didn't have those people behind the scenes, they'd be washing their uniforms and not focusing on the game.
I like the people that are in like the travel office who have to like get airplane tickets for guys, especially in the preseason. They're flying people all over. Trades are happening, and like, oh, you got to be in Cleveland tomorrow because you just got traded to Cleveland. Let's get you a ticket to Cleveland. Like that's kind of cool.
So it's impressive.
All right. Well, another great episode. So like and subscribe, please. And
put your comments in the right below.
Exactly. Tell us what you thought of this episode. And I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas.
And happy holidays.
Yeah.